This is Brandon Jackson for Web Bike World. In this quick video clip, we're going to take a look at using the MotoPump air shot and connecting the zero loss hose to the valve stem on the bike. First, I'm going to connect the power to the air shot. And you can tell it's got power by the little LED that comes on when you do. Next, I'm going to connect the hose to the valve stem. Now, it is important as you attach it that once you get it started, turn quickly so you lose the minimum amount of air. So I'm going to just do this. You can hear a little hiss as it comes out. Now I'm going to check the pressure using the built-in connector on the air shot. We'll see that we've got, I would call that 31.5 pounds, if you can read that on the gauge right there. Yep, 31.5. Let's go ahead and air it up to about 36. Reset for good measure, and I did let it go a little too long. I would call that 36.5, so that's good. So let's see if we lose a full half or if we lose anything once we disconnect it. Obviously some pressure will be lost as we unscrew this, and some of the pressure being read is coming from within the hose too, so a couple of things will change. Let's see how significant it is. Again, 36.5. Just a very tiny loss of air there as it came off. Let's see how it looks now. My awkward placement of my hand you might not be able to see, so let's see what we get. I've zeroed it back out, and just slightly over 36. So, I expect to always lose a little bit of air, but a quarter of a pound or so, maybe. And again, coming through the hose versus checking it right here, it's always going to be a little different. You might have to just check yours to make sure and see if they come up right, but that seems about right. So let's see how much air is lost just attaching and reattaching. So remember, we were just a hair over 36 there. Process putting it on, it's got a seal. I'm just going to go ahead and take it back off, just so we can compare how much air is lost attaching and reattaching. I've reset it back to 0. Right on 36 at this point. So only a tiny amount of air was actually lost in the attachment and reattachment process. So again, there might be some differences of measuring the air while the pump is running and going into the tire. I've noticed that it shows maybe a little bit higher while the pump is active versus switching it off and then checking it again. Just to confirm how well that this hose works on any valve stem I could find, I checked on my Kawasaki Ninja 1000 valves, as well as the valves of my Volkswagen EOS and our Subaru Forester we have here in the garage, just to make sure that the hose does lose a tiny amount of air attaching and reattaching. It could be that if your valve core is not standard, perhaps there's longer cores that can go into a standard Schrader valve. I can't confirm that, but maybe that could cause an issue with taking longer to unscrew it and letting too much air out before you've finished unscrewing the zero loss valve and closing back off the airflow. In all the valve stems I checked here in the garage, they all sat just about level, and I've got a picture I'm showing here of the BMW valve core where you can see it sits just at the edge of where the surrounding valve stem is. And here's a few pictures of some of the other valve stems and cores on our other vehicles. So I hope this little demonstration helps show how the zero loss hose works. I guess you could say it's not quite zero loss. You're always going to lose a tiny bit as you unscrew and the valve inside opens and closes. But it was a pretty minuscule amount, and if you always just put a slight bit more air in than you need, you're pretty much good to go.